So I was saying, there's no better way we can start this conversation without really sharing with you our journey,
Yeah.
where it all began for us, how we met,
Yeah.
how we fell in love,
Yes.
and how we navigated the storms of life, the challenges, the lovely moments, the exciting moments that we had. So we thought we could just quickly share with you our journey, and I'll let Mwango start because they say ladies first.
Yeah, ladies first. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for joining us again. Thank you, everyone. I'm sure some more people will be joining on. But obviously, we are mindful of the time and we really don't want to take so much out of you. So our journey started with myself. I lived in the part of Africa called Zambia. That's where I grew up, in some place called Kasama. Those people that are in Zambia probably watching might know the place. I was really just serving the Lord, but one thing I did was pray for somebody that I was going to get married to. Then a certain auntie came into our church where I used to congregate, and we want to honor our bishop, Harrison Sakala, who was my pastor at that time and my spiritual guidance. Then the auntie said, oh, there's somebody who was interested in me. She hooked me up, and I met that person in another part of Zambia where we met. But obviously, when you have prayed and you know what you want, I could tell that that wasn't what was for me. But of course, I met him. And then on my way to some friends' graduation, a friend who gave us a lift said, I need to go and pass through and see a few friends. So when we passed through that place when we were going, that's when Adrian came out to greet the person who gave us a lift. So when he came out, I saw Adrian, and definitely I fell for Adrian. Coming back, and yeah, that was it. So the person who was dating me that time, coming back, I made up my mind. When I saw Adrian, my heart just settled. I think my heart first of all skipped 3 times and eventually settled. But by then we hadn't started anything. But obviously, because I had been praying, I knew within my heart that that was the man that I've asked God for. And there was Adrian. And then I met you in church. The following day, we met at church.
Yeah. Well, she was praying for a life partner or a husband. I was not praying.
Okay.
And I was not looking for anyone at that time. I was just having fun. I was just enjoying the fellowship with the youths.
Yeah.
And I used to live with 2 of my other friends. I'm sure they might join us quite soon. Might be watching. So I was with 2 of my friends, and then she popped in with someone that was interested in her. So I just went to say hello to a friend of mine that was actually giving her a lift, and I said, oh, hi, and then there was this lady sitting at the back, and she just looked at me, and according to her, God spoke to her then. He never spoke to me. And then, yeah, cutting the long story short, we met again the following Sunday. I think she came over for church, and I just said hi to her. Never clicked or anything, and then she left. She went back to where she lived, and obviously I heard after a short while later that she was actually going to be coming back. I did promise that I was going to get in touch with her and just say hi. And then when I was told she was coming back, I was like, oh, I haven't actually been in touch. It's been like a week. Let me just quickly give her a call and find out how she's doing. And then I just gave her a quick call, and she was like, oh yeah, I'm good. And then she came back. We met again, and the relationship was getting a little bit stronger, and we were beginning to flow. We were beginning to enjoy each other's company, and everyone began to think that there was something going on between the 2 of us.
Yeah.
And I was seeing myself being boxed in some kind of a forced kind of relationship that I was not actually looking for. So so for me, it was more like accidental. And then So when she came back, we had a date. We went out somewhere just to, just to have a drink. And I could see that really she was expecting me to say something to her. But then I was not ready. So I think I just was clear and open and frank. And I said, I know we've been lovely friends and we're getting so well. We're getting along so well. And people might be thinking that we are actually seeing each other. But I don't want you to think that that's the situation. That's not the situation for me. So let's just be friends and let's just, let's just carry on. And I was amazed at her response because I was expecting her to say, "Oh, who do you think you are? You think I like you or anything?" But then she was so gracious.
Yeah.
She said to me, she said, "Well, if God, had put us together, then we will definitely be together.
Yeah.
So we can part company now, and I can go to Botswana, I can go to South Africa, I can go anywhere. But if we were meant for each other, then someday we will definitely get together."
Yeah, definitely. And that's what happened. I just said, I remembered actually, God always prepares our hearts. And I remember that time God prepared my heart for a message that I received from our Bishop Sakala, Harrison Sakala. He preached a message that talked about let go. The message was about let go of that which you love. If it surely belongs to you, to come back. And at that moment when Adrian told me that, I was just like, okay. I said, all right, I let go of that. I said, if you let go of that which you love, if it belongs to you, it will come back. And for sure, I was just so excited. I didn't get depressed or demoralized. We continued dating. And so, here we are now.
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll keep sharing along the way our journey.
Along the way, I'm sure we'll just dive into all the different details of how it all, finally got together. But obviously, I proposed after much prayer and fast. Well, I didn't. After much prayer, I wanted to be sure that indeed this is something that God was presenting to me. So I prayed and I got my own personal conviction, and I knew in my own heart that even though I was not looking, but the time had come for me. And so we went ahead and I proposed, and we were so in love. Even now we are still in love.
Yes, of course. Yeah. We haven't fallen out.
So we were so in love, and the passion was was off the roof. The affection, the feelings for each other were so strong, and we couldn't really
resist, especially the talking.
I
think we talked a lot on the phone, such that I think my employers, that one, I keep asking God to forgive me. They called me at one time and said there's so much, the bill is so huge with the phone calls and everything. But then obviously I had to pay back some of it because I think it was just so exciting, and you lose yourself sometimes in that. I hope I'm not being crucified here. We were so much involved in each other that even when we finally got together and we started now planning to say, okay, we're gonna settle down, we all felt comfortable to stretch another step into thinking about marriage. We couldn't even, when we started now doing our premarital counseling, you could go there, but little did we understand that all that knowledge that we were being passed on was going to help us in a marriage. I think there is always a tendency when you step out to say we are going to get married, where the planning is so much about the wedding. So we started thinking of getting married and planning for the kitchen party and planning for the marriage. That the premarital counseling was there, but not as much.
We didn't actually realize that once you go past the stage of the preparations, the kitchen parties and the actual wedding itself, and then you are pronounced husband and wife, then marriage begins. So we were just excited that we had fallen in love with each other, and we were looking forward to this lovely, wonderful life together. And of course we went through that, and we got married, which is about 21 years ago, like we said in our intro. So we got married, and then life began. And so when life began, we began now to pick out some things. We began to learn a few things. We began to be faced with certain challenges that we were not quite prepared for, or challenges that we were not ready for.
Yeah.
We were told about all those things during the counseling session, but it just went over. It was just all going over because of the affection for each other. And for me, I must be honest, I honestly thought that our marriage was actually made in heaven.
Yes.
And it was just going to be lovely.
Yes.
It was going to be smooth sailing.
Yes.
It was going to be just, heaven on earth.
Yeah.
That's the way I thought. And then once we began to live, and then I began to realize that actually there was more to it than just the affection that we felt for each other.
Yes.
There was more to it than just the love that we felt for each other, the emotions that we had, the feelings we had for each other. There was actually more to that. And these are some of the things that we thought we could, bring out and share with you, our friends and family. I know that we have, a different representation of people that are watching us. There are those that have been married for maybe under 5 years. There are those that are not yet married, and then there are those that maybe have been married a little bit longer than ourselves. So there are different combinations of people, but our prayer is that as we share some of these things that we learned along the way, those that have been married, some might actually be dealing with that issue as we bring it up. It may be something that they are, actually dealing with. Others, it might be, something that maybe they've never actually thought about. It just comes as, it just comes new to them, and they're like, oh, really? Is this the way it is? So this is what we are doing. So we will just quickly share with you some of the things that we found out, and as we go along, we are going to dig deeper into those things. Obviously, for today, we will do an introduction of some of the things that we discovered, and we will look at how that has worked for us.
Yes.
And we will share our experience. But we also are aware that our experience is unique to us.
Yeah, definitely.
It applies to us. But some of the principles that I'm sure we're going to share will be principles that might apply to different people in their own situation or in their own experience. It will apply to them because they are actually principles. Yes. So just as a way of just giving you a taste of what we will be looking at in depth as we begin, we will definitely be looking at marriage as a covenant.
Yes.
We discovered that marriage was not something that you dip in and dip out.
Yeah, like the Hollywood. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't something that there's a difference between a contract and a covenant.
Yeah.
In a contract, there will be an agreement between two people. But what those two people are doing is that each party is trying to minimize their liabilities. And then they're trying to maximize their advantages in that contract. So they come in and they're like, okay, I must make the maximum amount of money and make the least amount of loss in this kind of an arrangement.
Yeah.
But quickly we discovered that actually marriage was not a contract where one gets in and you have to maximize, you have to make use of this other person that you have and just take advantage of them. But we realized that actually it was a covenant. It was something that two people entered into for life.
Yeah.
And there's so much exchange. This is why two people become one. There's so much exchange going on. So there's a promise going out. There's an exchange of one's life with the other. So the two, you all merge and then you become one. So that's what the Bible says. We become one. And in a covenant, it's very difficult to separate the two.
Yeah.
So once you try to separate the two, there will be a part of one that will go with the other.
Yes.
Because you are put together, you are merged together. So once you try and separate it, one part will be going with the other person. And so that's one of the things that we discovered. And the other thing that we will try and get into in depth is one of the things that we have found out, especially with young people. Young people have spent a lot of time, reading books like, I don't know if those books are still there, but I read some of them, the Muse and Boone.
Yeah.
They were quite common.
Yes. Yeah.
Where, there's this fairy tale of Prince Charming, and it's all lovely, and it's all, it's plain sailing, and he comes and he lifts her and he turns around and he strokes her hair and all that lovely, language in there.
But it was good, even when I was trying to imagine the person I was going to get married to, I tried to imagine it like that. That's why I think there was a shock. Yes. When you get in and you say, okay, this is not like the Mills and Bono or the Hollywood marriages where it all looks like everything is fine. You've washed the moment you wake up, you are washed, you are dressed and everything, you are looking good. But then you start sitting and, staying together and everything. So that one helps also the imagination.
That's right. And the misunderstanding is that actually that passion that you feel, that feeling that you have for this person is actually love.
Yes.
So you love that person because you have got that feeling for them, that affection, and that is good because that's something that God has given us to try and connect us together.
Yes.
First and foremost.
Yeah.
Without that affection and without that strong feeling for one another, it will just be one of those things. You just high and you go. But there's that strong connection. But we quickly found out that actually the misunderstanding there is that some people understood that, especially young people, understood that to be love. And now, a few years down the line, when they get married, that feeling, if they do not understand that feeling is just the fire, but there is actually the wood that's burning, that's causing that fire to go on, the flame. So once you take out that wood, you find that the fire dies.
Yeah.
So we found out that actually that feeling of love needs to be sustained by certain things that people have to do. So love in itself is got feelings, yes, but it's also an action word. Love is a verb.
Yes.
So you can't say you love someone if you don't do anything.
Yeah.
So we quickly found out that we loved, we were so affectionate, and then we were not doing certain small little things for each other, small little gestures for each other, like just texting and say, oh, I'm thinking about you, I love you, I'll be seeing you tonight. And then all of a sudden, with the pressure and everything, then all of a sudden you discover that feeling just disappears. And a lot of married people get to that point, and it's just a season in marriage. They get to that point where the feeling just disappears.
Yeah.
And now, in Hollywood, they say, oh, I don't love this person anymore. So I can't stay with them. I can't live with them anymore because I don't love them. I don't feel anything about I don't feel anything. So I don't love you. So, and we found out that actually that is a mistake.
Yeah.
That's a mistake. There are certain things that you can do, even if that's the season of your life right now. You can begin to put some wood and begin to, to ignite the fire.
Yeah.
Begin to ignite the fire. You push the wood and begin to ignite the fire. And once you ignite that fire, then all of a sudden the affection comes back. The feelings start coming back. So we will dig deeper into that. We will talk about things like, one of the questions that we have posed to, some of our couples, our friends. We have asked the question, what did you mean when you said on that day that I love you?
Yeah.
What did you actually mean? Were you talking about your feelings? What were you talking about?
Yeah.
What did you actually mean?
Yeah.
So we will look at that in the next conversation that we have and just talk about what that means.
Yeah.
So we did you want to say anything?
No.
We quickly move to the next.
Yeah, no, I think that's fine. Yeah, love is a verb. and it requires action, and we didn't prepare to say marriage was really work. You have to work on it, and hard work. And one of the things I think that we skipped because of the hype of preparing for the wedding and all the excitement was that you really have to make sure that you know yourself well, and then you also, as a couple trying to come together, have a vision and a strategy. Strategy meaning it's a long-term plan of how you can endure and how you can face challenges and overcome them. So there were a few things that I think from the beginning that we didn't hone on so much that could help us as we go on, especially the first, second, when even the children start coming in, then you can see. So that is one of the things I think along the way that we will look at. It's looking at the vision and how that can help in so many ways and so many circumstances and situations that we face as a married. And then the other thing I think that we discovered was differences, because when we were just relating and dating and courting, we had these differences. Adrian is quiet, very patient, like he said even when he was proposing to me, that I'm a very patient man, I don't rush into doing things. And but then coming into marriage, I think I'm a very fast person, and I want to do things quick, and I want to plan, and I want to go ahead and be on time for things. And then I meet Adrian, and then he's a bit more laid back and relaxed, and he wants to be given more time. I don't know if it's a man thing, but of course, no, not really a man thing. Some men are,
that's I'm sure that's just me.
Yeah, that's you, of course.
But that is one of the things that attracted us to each other. So, and that's what normally happens in relationships. You find that people are attracted to someone that's slightly opposite them.
Yeah.
Because imagine me getting along with someone who is equally reserved, someone that thinks before they say anything, someone that thinks before they act or anything. Then we will all just be sitting there and just looking at each other and saying, oh, when are we going to do this? But, when we met, I just loved this girl that would just talk, and she just went on and went on and went on, and I was just enjoying, and I was just sitting there, and she just went on and went on. And then, and she was just enjoying going on, and then I am also listening. But we quickly found out that once we got into marriage, that was an area where we had some friction, because she is saying, but why can't you just talk? And I'm thinking, when are you gonna be quiet? We just need a bit of some peace. You just on the phone, every minute on the phone, and you're talking and chatting and doing. And I'm like, what? But we quickly understood that actually we were different.
Yeah.
And that's why we fell in love in the first place. So it's not a bad thing that I am the way I am and she is the way she is.
Yes.
It's a good thing. So what we need to do is to try and complement one another.
Yeah.
Understand the differences.
Yeah.
And then once we understand the differences, then we can support each other. So there's areas where she's weak, and then I come in, because in those areas I am quite strong.
Yeah.
So I come in, and then I cover her weakness. And then there are areas where I'm weak. She's very strong. She comes in and she covers my weakness. And then together we are a strong team. And then we move together.
Yeah.
But if you haven't gotten that sort of understanding, that becomes an issue.
That's
like they
true,
say that, there's a saying that opposites attract. But when there's a problem, opposites attack.
Yes, it's true.
So if you haven't quite understood, there will be an attack between the two of you. But if you have understood and you have put the whole thing together, then it will be a lovely thing that's very attractive. So that's the other thing. And so we will get slightly into details talking about these things. And obviously when we get into marriage, we come with extra baggage.
I think I want just one point. I think on the one for differences, when we talked about the covenant in marriage, one of the things that a covenant in marriage involves, of course we'll go in details, is the exchange. Just like in the covenant that we have with our Lord Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's the covenant of exchange. We exchange our sickness with his healing. And our pain with his peace. So even in a marriage, when we have this covenant, like Adrian has just rightly said, to say, where I was weak or where I am weak even now, he covers me with his strength. That's the exchange we do in a marriage.
Yeah.
Where we have a weakness, there's an exchange. Adrian has to cover me with his strength.
Yeah.
Where he is weak, I am there as a covenant partner to cover him with my strength. And that's what one thing that it is with about this covenant. And the difference is, when we go deeper into them, these will be nuggets on their own when we get deeper. The differences are there as well to enhance actually the marriage, to enhance the relationship.
Yeah.
But half the time is we don't know how this man is wired and how this woman is wired. And so because of that, we find that there's always friction, and that's where it all starts from. It's just lack of understanding. The differences that we have are there actually to make it so beautiful and to make things work and to make the marriage strengthen. Otherwise, if we are just the same, then we are not going to go anywhere.